There is a strange belief in today's world that being busy means being successful. We fill every empty moment with noise, music, videos, notifications, conversations, endless thoughts. Even when the body stops moving, the mind continues to race. We have forgotten what true silence feels like. But your brain was never designed to operate without rest. Just as your muscles grow stronger during recovery, your mind becomes clearer during moments of stillness. The greatest ideas, the deepest peace, and the strongest decisions are often born not from constant effort, but from quiet reflection. Silence is not emptiness. It is the space where clarity appears. It is where anxiety loses its grip, emotions settle, and wisdom begins to speak. The person who learns to be comfortable in silence gains a strength that cannot be shaken by the scene, chaos of the world. Your mind was never designed to stay active every waking moment without rest. Yet many people live as though they must constantly think, react, plan, and consume information from the moment they wake up until they finally fall asleep. Notifications demand your attention. Conversations fill every quiet space, and endless streams of content compete for your focus. Over time, your brain becomes overloaded, not because it is weak, but because it has been carrying far more than it was meant to handle. Mental fatigue doesn't always announce itself with obvious exhaustion. Sometimes it appears as difficulty concentrating, forgetfulness, irritability, or the feeling that even simple decisions require tremendous effort. Silence offers something that constant activity never can, a chance for the mind to recover. Just as your body needs sleep after physical work, your brain needs moments of stillness to organize memories, process emotions, and clear away unnecessary mental clutter. During quiet moments, thoughts begin to settle naturally, much like muddy water becoming clear when it is left undisturbed. You don't have to force clarity. You don't have to force clarity. You simply create the conditions for it to appear. Many people believe they need to push harder whenever they feel overwhelmed, but often the opposite is true. The most effective step is to pause. Step away from the noise. Put down the phone. Turn off the television. And allow yourself to simply exist without needing to accomplish anything for a few minutes. At first, the silence may feel uncomfortable because the mind has become accustomed to constant stimulation. But if you remain patient, that discomfort slowly transforms into calm. In those peaceful moments, your breathing becomes steadier, your thoughts become more organized, and your perspective begins to change. Problems that seemed overwhelming lose some of their power, and solutions often appear without force. A rested mind is more focused, more creative, and more resilient than an exhausted one. Real strength is not found in keeping your brain busy every second of the day. It is found in knowing when to stop, embrace silence, and allow your mind the opportunity to reset, recharge, and return with greater clarity and purpose. In a world filled with endless opinions, expectations, and distractions, it becomes surprisingly easy to lose touch with your own inner voice. From the moment you wake up, you are surrounded by messages telling you who to be, what to achieve, how to look, and what success should mean. Social media, news, advertisements, and even well-meaning advice from others constantly compete for your attention. Over time, these outside influences grow so loud that your own thoughts become difficult to hear. You begin making decisions based on approval instead of purpose, comparison instead of conviction, and fear instead of wisdom. Silence changes that. When the noise fades, something remarkable begins to happen. You start hearing the thoughts that have been buried beneath the constant distractions. Your mind no longer has to chase every notification or react to every opinion. Instead, it has the freedom to reflect. You begin asking yourself important questions. What truly matters to me? What kind of life do I want to build? What brings me genuine peace rather than temporary satisfaction? These are questions that cannot be answered in the middle of constant chaos. They require quiet, patience, and honesty. Your inner voice is not loud or demanding. It speaks gently, which is why it is so often drowned out by the noise of everyday life. But when you regularly spend time in silence, that quiet wisdom becomes clearer. You begin trusting your instincts instead of constantly seeking validation from others. Decisions become less about pleasing everyone around you and more about staying true to your values. Confidence grows naturally because it is no longer dependent on applause or approval. It comes from knowing yourself. The more often you embrace silence, the more connected you become with who you really are. You stop living according to someone else's expectations and start following a path that reflects your own beliefs and purpose. The answers you have been searching for are often not found in louder voices or more information. They are discovered in the quiet moments when you finally give yourself the chance to listen. Every day, life presents you with countless decisions. Some are small and seem insignificant, while others have the power to shape your future. Yet many people make these choices while their minds are overwhelmed with stress, fear, and constant mental noise. When your thoughts are racing, it becomes difficult to separate facts from emotions. A simple challenge can feel like a disaster, and temporary frustration can lead to permanent regret. This is why impulsive decisions often happen in moments of mental chaos. Our reserves and feelings, it place lesions often happen in moments of mental chaos, rather than moments of mental chaos, rather than moments of mental chaos, rather than moments of mental chaos, of mental chaos, rather than moments of mental chaos, rather than moments of clarity. A quiet mind creates the space needed for wisdom to emerge. Instead of reacting immediately to every situation, you learn to pause, observe, and think before you act. That brief moment of silence can completely change the outcome of a decision. It allows your emotions to settle, so your judgment is no longer controlled by anger, anxiety, or fear. Rather than asking, "How do I escape this problem?" you begin asking, "What is the best response?" That small shift in thinking can transform the way you approach every challenge in life. Silence also helps you notice details that are easy to overlook when you are distracted. You become more aware of your surroundings, your emotions, and the intentions behind your actions. Instead of being pulled in every direction by outside pressure, you remain grounded in what truly matters. This ability to remain calm under pressure is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. It is not about avoiding difficulties, but about facing them with a clear and steady mind. Many of history's greatest leaders, thinkers, and creators understood the value of stepping away before making important decisions. They knew that clarity rarely appears in the middle of chaos. It is found in moments of reflection and stillness. When you give your mind the gift of silence, you stop making choices based solely on emotion and begin making them with purpose and understanding. A calm mind sees opportunities where a distracted mind sees obstacles, and it finds solutions where panic sees only problems. True wisdom is not about thinking faster. It is about thinking more clearly, and clarity is born in silence. Creativity is often misunderstood. Many people believe that great ideas come from working harder, consuming more information, or constantly pushing the mind to produce results. But creativity does not thrive in a state of endless noise and distraction. It needs space. It needs quiet moments where thoughts are free to wander, connect, and grow naturally. A mind that is always occupied with notifications, conversations, and endless streams of content rarely has the opportunity to create something truly original. Think about how many times a good idea has appeared when you were taking a walk, sitting quietly, or simply resting. These moments are not accidents. When the mind is no longer overwhelmed with external stimulation, it begins to organize information in new ways. Connections that were once hidden become visible. Problems that seemed impossible suddenly reveal unexpected solutions. Silence gives your brain the freedom to explore without pressure. And in that freedom, creativity comes alive. The modern world encourages constant consumption. We scroll, watch, listen, and react from morning until night. But creativity is not built only by taking in information. It is built by giving the mind time to process and transform that information into something meaningful. Without periods of stillness, the brain remains busy collecting ideas, but never has the opportunity to develop them. This is why many artists, writers, inventors, and innovators throughout history valued solitude and quiet reflection. They understood that some of the greatest breakthroughs emerge not during activity, but during moments of peace. Silence also removes the fear of judgment. When you step away from outside opinions and expectations, your imagination becomes stronger. You begin to think freely, without worrying about what others might say. New possibilities appear because your mind is no longer limited by noise or comparison. Creativity flourishes when there is room to explore, experiment, and dream. Your mind is not a machine that can create endlessly. Your mind is not a machine that can create endlessly without rest. It is like a garden that needs space, sunlight, and time to grow. When you give yourself moments of silence, you nourish your imagination and unlock ideas that might otherwise remain hidden. Creation begins where distraction ends, and often the quietest moments produce the most powerful ideas. Inner peace is not something that suddenly appears or finally solve every problem in your life. It is not a reward waiting for you somewhere in the future. It is something you cultivate within yourself, one quiet moment at a time. Many people spend years chasing happiness through external achievements, believing that the next accomplishment or possession will finally bring lasting calm. Yet even after reaching those goals, they often discover that the noise inside their minds remains. This is because peace is not created by changing your surroundings. It is created by changing your relationship with them. Every moment you choose silence, you strengthen your ability to remain calm regardless of what is happening around you. At first, it may seem difficult. Your mind may wander, old worries may surface, and the urge to fill the silence with distractions can feel overwhelming. This is completely natural. The mind has become accustomed to constant stimulation, and learning to embrace stillness is like strengthening a muscle. The more consistently you practice it, the more natural it becomes. As you continue making space for silence, you begin to notice subtle but powerful changes. Stress no longer controls your every thought. Small inconveniences lose their power to ruin your entire day. you become less reactive and more thoughtful in your responses. Instead of allowing every opinion, criticism, or unexpected challenge to disturb your peace, you develop the ability to remain centered. This quiet strength cannot be taken away by circumstances because it is built from within. Not borrowed from the outside world, and you also begin to realize that happiness is far simpler than you once believed. It is found in a deep breath, a peaceful morning, a quiet walk, or a few moments of reflection. You no longer feel the constant need to chase entertainment or validation to feel complete. The silence that once seemed uncomfortable becomes a place of comfort, renewal, and clarity. Life will always contain uncertainty, challenges, and moments of chaos. The world may remain loud, fast, and demanding, but your mind does not have to mirror that noise. By returning to silence again and again, you create an inner refuge that no external situation can easily shake. In that stillness, you discover resilience, wisdom, gratitude, and a lasting sense of peace. True freedom begins when your happiness is no longer dependent on the world becoming quieter, but on your ability to remain peaceful within it.